G'day guys, and welcome to a very special episode of Aussie Gridiron today. I'm Manjot and Matty, as always joined by my boy Matty C. Matty, how's it going?
G'day Manjot. Mate, it is good to get the band back together because it has been a bit of an off-season in Australian football. And I'm just so glad to be back in a room with you, mate.
Yes, indeed, and you guys see a third face today. Of course, we have a very special guest on Aussie Gridiron today. It's actually our first interview, full-length interview for the show together, Matty. We have the founder of Gridiron Shop Australia, Rodney Stanton. Rodney, how's it going today?
Fantastic, lads. Fantastic. Love what you guys do. Love the program. Big follower of the program when it's not spoiling scores. Love what you guys do, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes, indeed.
It's great to have you, mate. And look, we know that there's a fair bit we want to tackle in tonight's interview, but really what I think would be a great place to start is just to get to learn a little bit about you, mate, and what your life with football has been like in Australia, and even what brought you to football in Australia. But where's a good place to start telling that story?
Bruising Brett Williams is the place to start there.
Here we go.
Yeah.
COVID.
Kick that stone over.
To my knowledge, I don't know, I haven't fact-checked this, and he'll probably yell at me for saying this, but to my knowledge, one of the record holders for Firebirds running backs. But we bought our first townhome in a suburb, and he was next door during COVID. And he, I'd seen when I moved to Canberra a couple of years before that, I'd seen some guys practicing, and I've got a young family, and I was like, And then Bruising Brent Williams during the COVID lockdown, he had a soda or two with me next door during the lockout, and he said, "Hey," while we're sitting there during soda one, he was messaging the coach, and that led me to coaching in the grand final of the ACTG as a defensive coordinator. So that was fun.
Look at that. But, Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny, the tenuous things that lead people into a football life here? Yeah,
it was a sneaky way to get me, but he got me. I said, "What are you talking to?" He says, "Messaging the coach." I said, "Oh, okay. I got a new coach."
This is hilarious. But now I can't tell whether he courted you or you courted him.
Yeah, look. Yeah, I spent some time with him a couple weekends ago, actually. I ended up in his wedding, so football's galvanized our lifelong friendship with a good human, and obviously couldn't get enough, and then played a little bit. Look, football's beaten into us back home from a grade. I think I started flag football when I was 9. I think it would have been 9. So it's an interesting flag setup way back in the day. We used to have,
I'll stop it. I'm about the same age as you, mate. Stop it.
It used to be that you would do flag until grade 7.
Okay.
And then once grade 7 hit, you put on the pads, and it was onward and upward. So, played that. I got recruited across a lot of Div 3, real private bougie schools.
Ooh.
Loved the game. Just the poor kid who didn't have all these other leagues and this other opportunities, and Asian League and Euro League. They were probably just starting when that happened, which is, is a bit sad. But look, I'm a student of the game. I'm a student of chess. I just love it's a thinking man's game, and it's hard to get away from.
Oh.
Really hard to get away from.
I love that you said student of chess as well. I mean, that's where I sort of started liking the game as well, Rod. It's sort of the strategic element. When I was a kid, I was very interested in chess. I got into chess maybe a couple months before I discovered American football when I was like maybe 5-6 years old, and I was just like, dang, these just meant well. It's just, So the strategy or the brutality, which one do you prefer, would you say?
No, none of that. It's not strategy or brutality, it's sacrifice, baby. If you're willing to sacrifice for the love of the game, none of that other stuff matters. If you sacrifice for your brothers and your sisters, for both sides of the football, and you're a student of the game, not of the position, I think that is the difference, I think, these days between the people that are to the next level. They're a student of the game. They're learning other people's positions. They know laterally what's going on, not just throw the slant or block the D end or whatever. So yeah, that's maybe that's the old school. I know they just teach positions these days, but I think the student of the game studying film, putting the work in, is what makes it special.
Yeah, a lot of coaching philosophy there, Rod. Now, me and Matty, we do remember in 2023 when you had moved to the Glads coaching staff, and they went down a few players, so you had to step in at quarterback. Oh man, what an experience that was. Talk to us about that.
Well, I was also the secretary of the league during that time, in the ACT Gridiron League, and yeah, it was a tumultuous period trying to keep all the squads going and going to 9-man football. If you guys remember, we had to size down to keep the boys playing. And I did play a single play when my sister visited as a Wolves quarterback in 22, but mostly starting tackle. But playing quarterback, yeah, it was a learning curve. It really was, because I played offensive line. I knew the plays, I know the strategy, I know the routes, I know what needs to happen. And I think when you have time or you don't have time, you have bruises or you don't have bruises.
A lot happens quickly behind those lines too. Only spending my time mainly as a receiver, just watching how fast those lines can deteriorate. Your poor mate back there who's just trying to find someone open in that moment. It can be pretty brutal.
It didn't start good, and I think, they talk about a 2.5 second release. I don't think 9-man football, I don't think I had 2 seconds.
No.
Oh, with some of the guys,
what do you do? Just pegging it to open space and hoping your guy breaks the right way.
Hopefully it's timing, and I think the interesting thing about the sport here, again back to positions and timing, I think if you only have 2 trainings a week. Now I'm from the old school of we do 2 a days the first 2 weeks before season starts, and then on top of that we're practicing 5 days a week. So I think I knew very, very quickly, and this is not a reflection of the Gladiators, I think it's a reflection of all the clubs nationally. I think for the squads that train 5 days a week, which is really cost prohibitive, I think is a real handicap for the league, for nationally the league, not our just local league. I don't think it's a local problem. I think that is what really separates. And then even if guys are training on an individual level 5 days a week, you're still not getting the chemistry. And I think it's a real shame there's not more government funding for sports and school integration into high schools for sport, because I think the fields will be there, the community, the village will be there. There's just this element that could really put us on the global stage if we had the time and resources and investment in our communities.
That is an interesting point to lead down to, because if from the US model, where it is very much about the schools providing that, to Australia, where it is very club driven and it's about amateurs and club environments then seeking their own funding themselves from having players contribute their registration into the club, and then trying to make the best of what you can after the insurances are all paid. Do you see a big disparity between the US system and the way Australia structures its amateur sports like that, especially in American football?
Yeah, and I think, it's interesting. I was talking with the state body about funding for these programs, and I think after our women's forum, we really want to put a big push, mostly for the disadvantaged suburbs, because back where we grew up, they have athletic directors in high schools. Granted, and I don't think you necessarily need to have 9 to 12 like they do back there. I don't think you really need that actually here. I think without an athletic director to go, okay, your track and field, your athletics, hey, training, here's the facilities, here's your thing. Let's get you into as many colleges and write you letters of reference and get you there. I think we're going to really put a big push from the other business I run, which is mental health service in Canberra. I think the goal will be that even if you hated, say for example, look, I was no track star, boys. I don't run unless I'm getting chased, okay? Which I definitely got chased at quarterback. But the element of even if you didn't like the sport, let's say it's track and field. Like every year we do a state track and field day or whatever. All the high schools compete. They would have been training, had their seasons done, all that kind of stuff. Even if you hated the sport, even if you detested, you would still go, what are you doing Saturday night? you would grab a friend that would had no idea but wore the same logo as your school and go, hey, let's go have a cheap feed, let's go spend time with mates, run around the field, do whatever we want outside of the sport. And once the sport's finished, you go home. Well, guess what? You got safety in the village. You know, hey, you're Kaleen High, Garilang High or whatever, where you actually have these communities that, again, they didn't even have to be involved in the sport, but they're like, we beat you the other day, or we lost to you. You have this kind of the sport, I think, where the real Achilles heel for not just gridiron, but the real Achilles heel in sport here is they don't, as soon as they turn, I don't know the age that they start playing here, but as soon as they start, well, this money doesn't go to that community. It goes to an AFL club, an NRL club, a union club. And that necessarily union club is not in that village. That money's not going to the school. That money's not allowing parents to contribute to the school as volunteers or running it or learning the skill to contribute or officiate or, and I think I know it's a big passion of mine. Well, I've written to a couple of politicians about it, and I know David Pocock's office has said, "Hey, we're gonna raise this with David." I know he's got other stuff going on, but yeah. I think if you're not generating community and community dollars and people given an opportunity to contribute to their suburb, but outside that, man, there's no village to come back to, which I think is a real. It's a real passion of mine to change that. I think they need to try it here at least.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect segue here to talk about your work here with Gridiron Shop. So, where did it all start for you? Why did you want to build Gridiron Shop? And what was sort of the mission in terms of selling and providing equipment to local leagues?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Let me tell you a funny story that just happened in the last 48 hours. Honestly. 48 hours. So what I realized, other than everyone laughing at me when I brought a jugs machine home from the States on an airplane, they're like, what are you doing? But
love this.
There's a company in Melbourne that reached out to me and they go, hey, we want to run a pass catching day, whatever. And I said to them, okay, well, part of the shop, I think it's just having access and having a network to connect people. So what they said to us, they're like, hey, it's urgent. It's going to happen in 2 weeks. Help us. Give us a quote. Make it happen. But my first response was, I think I can find someone in Victoria that, one, has a ball machine. Two, the money's going to go to that local club that's just around the corner from these guys that might actually get a little bit more airtime for their club who own the machine. And lucky for us, voila, because they were like, give us a quote in this game. Give us a quote. I said, no. I said, I found the Croydon Rangers have a ball machine. Croydon Rangers, you get someone to run it if you're worried about them breaking it or doing whatever and things they don't know about. Well, guess what? They're going to tell all their village to do it. And guess what? They messaged me this morning. They're like, Rodney, I could have charged them and they could have freighted it and brought it down and it cost a bomb. But they have no village. It's like, yo, you got people right in your backyard. Honestly, the number one reason was make people have resources. If I don't have it, I don't need to make money, but I will have connected a company. The other day, a couple of weeks ago, Nepean Ducks. Love my ducks. My ducks.
Go the Ducks.
Love my ducks. And, they said, Rod, we're doing a come and try day. We want to get the ball machine. I said, tell you what, a friend of the show, of your shows and the shop, he can name nameless. He's a beautiful retired man. I said to him, hey, what's it going to take for you to get this machine up and back? There's no cost from us. Just get him to, one, use the damn thing. If it raises money and awareness and people have more fun because they have this machine that no one's got around them, that's good for football, guys. That is categorically good for football. Does it have to be, this is what the shop does? Well, guess what? The shop is one person. If I can connect a village and go, hey, let's save some costs. Let's put our resource together. Perfect. Another simple example. Wollongong Mustang. beautiful Mustangs. Love those guys.
Oh, yeah.
They
We're
said,
fans of the Mustangs here, too.
you know, that's my post today. Why the long face today, right? They had the sausage sizzle. I think it's on this weekend, actually. And I said to the boys, they said, hey, we need some new helmets. And you guys have played, you guys understand that when you go into a club you've never played and you put on an old rickety helmet that doesn't work, the pads are worn, it stinks, whatever. So the Mustang said, yo, we need some new chin guards, some new this, or, refit the bladder or do that kind of stuff. And I said, you guys don't need to spend the money. You guys don't. Just put the money back into the players, put the money back into your club, and just get the replacement parts. They saved like $8,000.
Wow.
What are you talking about? Like,
any club that can save $8,000 would be very grateful to hear that, right? And like you could go through the process of invoicing them and just replacing the helmets because that's what they think they need. But it just sounds like that's really sage advice to try and help the club be successful instead of just making the money for the business.
I had a message from UTS Gridiron today, the junior club in Sydney. They said, hey, can you help us? And they go, hey, here's some financial donations. Here's my van. I know my time and my resources are more valuable than throwing $500 at you. Because guess what? That $500 barely gets a set of shoulder pads. But if I give you a jugs machine for the weekend and you recruit 10 new players, you've just made $5,000.
Yeah. And you brought new people into the sport who then tell their friends, their family. They might have a friend who comes to look at it. They play the next year. Like it starts a loom, right?
And I said to the boys, I said, look, and every club that says, hey, I need to get X, I say, is X going to keep the dominoes rolling to keep players and people hungry and volunteers going and excitement and buzz around the club? My $500 disappears. WA Raiders, the state women's team over there. 2 years ago, I met the lady washing the laundry when I coached the 23 state team where we beat South Australia and Victoria. I had a great time up there, but I'm doing washing with the lady. And they go, hey, Rod, the next year they were running a trivia. And I said, how about this? I'll send you a free helmet that you can trivia off and raise funds for your club. And I'll send you a WA Raiders custom bag that you can give away to you and raise money for the club. Like every single gridiron community and shop nationally, great, you can sell something. But what does it do after the sale's done? Who cares? They're not going to call you. They're going to go and find the cheapest dollar around the corner. So even with us, to really drive home that point, the shop does not need to be a sponsor of a club for a player or a coach or whoever, a new player, to purchase stuff at team pricing with us. And we also say, because we are invested, say someone plays 2 years and they have an injury or something happens or whatever, we will say to that player, if it helps them, if they can't sell it into their club or if they don't want to buy, sell, swap it or whatever, you know the Facebook pages. I say to them, look, if you play a year, we'll buy it back at you with 1 year deducted on what we know the helmet's worth after 1 year of use.
Takes that responsibility off them, helps them get that money back, but gives you a way to potentially supply that back into a club of someone who's going to use it too, right? Just keeps the loom spinning. It's a loom spinning thing, yeah?
Yeah, that's happened a couple times. We had a couple guys rent helmets so they could go and play in the national team to get ready to play in Canada, the junior guys.
Oh,
so
that's cool. That's cool.
And they know I don't have the money. I said, well, I want your noodle to be safe. Here's a brand new helmet. You rent it from me, cheap as chips. Once it comes back, I'm not going to go, oh, it has a scrape, you need to buy the helmet. What am I, dumb? Like, it's a gridiron helmet. What are we talking about?
Yeah, look, we see that mission there, Rodney, with all these stories you've just told us in the last 5-10 minutes there about how you're willing to help people, help out our local leagues here. And it's honestly, I think both me and Matty, we're pretty touched by it. We've come in contact with your
100%.
Business like quite a bit. But I feel like speaking on behalf of both of us, we weren't sure of the extent of this until you've just told us, and honestly, it's quite amazing, Dan. I think that probably does lead on to what you're doing now with the Women's Gridiron Forum. So, what are you sort of looking to achieve with that forum? I mean, we've just seen the New South Wales League has just collapsed
Yep,
basically.
full stumps.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just
Yeah.
it was a 3-team competition last year with the UC Stars women's team traveling over there every weekend.
Yeah, Ducks and Raiders.
Yeah, Ducks and Raiders
Yeah.
too. But look, you're trying to start something here, help out the women's league here. So what are you looking at in terms of that women's
what's the meeting
gridiron
meant to
forward?
do?
So the goals of the chat, boys, the goals of the chat and ladies that are watching, the goals of the chat. Rule number 1, we need to make sure it's financially viable without squeezing every last cent out of these women. And please don't misunderstand. This is not a diss or a commentary about how any league is run in this country. Genuinely, it is not that. But it's to make sure it is self-sustaining financially without begging, borrowing, stealing from these women that want to play and learn the sport, or maybe rugby's not their game, or, you know, there's opportunity to play in the WNFC, the flag or national teams. Like, we've already had a contact from the CEO of the WNFC, and they want to have some conversations with us to deal with another business entity and go, hey, we can make a pathway for women.
See, that's
a And you guys know a couple of players that have played in the WNSC, and they're beautiful human beings, right? One just messaged me the other day, said my shoulder pad broke. I said, well, how about you just take and borrow a brand new pair of pads? Just as if it works, it works. So, number 2 for the forum is, because the forum is really just a seed planter for, so yes, make it financially viable, but the financial viability only lasts as good as we're propping up young and early young or late young women. And what I mean by
people
that
who are going to
is,
stay in the sport, right? People who are going to remain involved with the sport.
that's right. And so our goal for that is, and the only way that women tackle football is going to live and breathe in this country is, 1, if it provides some employment opportunities for women, paid employment opportunities for women. And we've got a couple of business vehicles. We've got a charity. We've got two businesses that can run between New South Wales and ACT or this region. Because, so that can help feed their families maybe, and also feed the sport and have a persistent presence with entities that aren't going to go away even if football's not on. They're going to be around, and even when off-season's there, they're going to be entities that can run even when the off-season's on. Not that there is an off-season, boys. We know
that.
No off-season.
We know that.
So
that's hugely important, right? That you're trying to find a way to make sure there's at least some constants about what you're trying to develop, right? That if it's transient, it's different people at the top, or people who are in roles that then leave, and you're always trying to constantly backfill that actually doesn't sustain anything. You're really looking to develop something that's got long form reach and it has stability.
Yeah. And the third element is, and I think really vital for any business. Boys, I run 2 to 3 businesses, depends which day it is. So the third part of it is going, I think, without at least an operations plan that is publicly viewable, that's publicly commentary on, that they know if we're going to go start to finish, the stakeholders should be able to go. If we're saying 2026 is the kickoff, who knows? Maybe it's earlier, maybe it's later. But if 2026 is the kickoff, people should be able to know women's gridiron, women's contact football.
Yeah.
What happens in year 1? What is actually the goalpost? And maybe we do that quicker than we want to, or maybe we don't. But at least we know that is the goalpost. And year 2, where we should be. Year 3, where we should be. And there is no way, lads and ladies, there is no way that can happen without inviting politicians, public school people, news outlets, people that don't need to play the sport, but they actually don't know how they can contribute, even though maybe they want young women to be empowered and have opportunities. Like, there was just a camp in my boy Coach Stone, just ran the She's a Baller camp in San Diego. The girls were there all weekend, 0 to 18 or 8 to 18, I think it was, and they were at an Olympic training facility, training and then playing a tournament. And Coach Stone says,
That's pretty outrageous.
Coach, he goes, Rod, get a team ready for next year. Not just for that one, but he runs national camps when he goes over there, when he's there anyway. So it's like, maybe there's a fourth way, is pathways to play and ways to play, ways to contribute, ways to make the money null and void. Because I think you know as well as I do, if they get to contribute their time and energy, and that grows the league, there's legacy behind it. And to be honest, I personally would love to work myself out of being just a pawn in the current position I'm in, to say, hey, I'm in a position, financial position, resources position, that I think we can generate the revenue for it. I think we can generate the hype for it. What you guys don't know is pre-COVID, we ran a couple of celebrity all-star charity baseball games for peer mental health. So it's a big passion of mine as well.
Oh, wow.
Mental health and village community. You know, we're talking Preston Daniels from the Gold Coast Titans. We're talking we're talking heads of not UC, of CIT. We're talking Shane Rattenberry. We're talking politicians, baseball players, people that don't play the sport, not interested in it, want to get involved, man. Like, if we're not doing that and creating hype and creating opportunities for people to put their hands in, you know, head of Wellways was there, head of Traditional Owners Aboriginal Corporation. The Canberra Cavalry hosted the game. We had Kira Lee, football player from New South Wales Gridiron, that had played internationally as well. So it's like, if we're not making the village and we're not opening doors for people to come into the village that are not already there or worn out, it will continue to stay. And you're 100% bang on, Matty.
Yeah.
If people are changing every year, if people in leadership positions are changing every year, it doesn't matter what state or territory you're in. If that's changing every year, well, guess what? The momentum is changing. There's a reason there's political cycles. There's a reason there's strategic plans that last for a period of time. There's a reason that if someone's got something, it needs to be able to carry, and we make it easy to carry for the next lot to keep coming through.
So then, just to follow on to that, it sounds like the range of diversity that you're talking about with the folks who are involved with the baseball charity and the awareness campaign for that. What does that sort of then lead into here for this forum with the state of ACT women's football? Who are you hoping will throw their hat in the ring to come and join the forum? Who are you looking to attract to come and learn or contribute to this forum in July?
People that want to empower young women, people that want to empower employment for young women, people that want to support their daughters or their wives or their partners, people that want to have something new and be in something exciting and they want to help something grow. People that have an idea of what a community needs to be, not what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and we're talking school leaders, we're talking university leaders, we're talking TAFE leaders, we're talking news outlets, we're talking podcasters, we're talking, you know, bricklayers, we're talking tradeswomen. You know, we've got a real strong connection with tradeswomen podcast. Lovely Louise Azapati, love you, Louise, if you're listening. I hope you do watch. But she's, you know, she does a lot of mentoring, coaching for women in trades where they're outnumbered. You know, we're talking, you know, women are powerful everywhere. This is our chance to go. Women are powerful. Here is a venue and a village that once they're in, you guys know as well that once you're locked into the Gridiron community, it's going to be hard to get out.
Yeah,
it's got a real sense of community about it that I think is hard to explain for people outside of the Gridiron community too. And I know some amateur sports will say those things, and I just didn't understand what that was like until I got into the Gridiron community. And now that I'm back in it a second time, the pool's just the same. It is just the same. There's something really special about the way the community of the sport works. But Manjot, I think I found that interesting to hear Rod's answer there, because I think initially when I see a post online about something like this, I just assume that it's got to be people who are interested in Gridiron. Rod's telling us it doesn't have to be people who are interested in Gridiron. In fact, don't know anything about it at all, come along. It's actually about the other things. The Gridiron is the channel with which we support the richer things in the community involvement.
The Gridiron, them being involved is not the product. The product is the village that is developing.
Yeah, definitely. And I do like that vision there, Rod. I think with that family, the village, that sort of vision where we're trying to grow that community. I feel like for us as sort of broadcasters of the league as well, it's a good chance for us to also expand our game into the women's game. I mean, commentate a few women's flag games myself. Haven't commentated any women's tackle. Matty commentated one game before the Capital Bowl a couple years ago. We had a women's showcase. So for us, in terms of our knowledge of the women's game, isn't as great. I'll just quick plug here for Alex Aarons. Of course, she runs the
Aussie Mates Rates.
Yeah, the Mates Rates podcast, absolute legend. She's been posting about flag and tackle. So big plug there. Just wanted to put that one in there for anyone who does want to learn more about women's football. I think this is an area where we've consulted her, of course, for our bowl game show as well. So, you've got that recommendation from us if you guys want some more information, more knowledge about the players there as well. I did want to just put that in for our viewers just to know that, there is some media talking about the women's game at the moment. And look, Matty, I think can speak on behalf of both of us again here that I think we want to be part of that media too. So, for us, we're definitely 100% behind any push here with women's American football. Just coming into the ACT more, spending time as well myself, just as a personal anecdote with the women's flag team over the years. Remember our trips there to Sydney in 2023. Did a bit of social media there for the team back in the day.
Most winning flag tournament for any ACT Monarch team was 2023, and I had an
Wow.
That was a great
well done,
tournament. Yeah, great weekend, great lead up to it, and just spending time with the women's players as well, like Danny DeGroot, Bree Payne, Rachel, Hannah Monty, these sort of, the girls on that team, like they, some of them did go on to represent Australia internationally too, just being in like that sort of room with them was just great. Yeah, so just sort of those sort of things I'm just thinking about there, like when you're speaking of women's football, is just the opportunities that we've seen recently in the flag game just growing there. We're seeing more women joining in with the flag game. Of course, 2028 Olympics coming up as well. So I think the opportunity is definitely there, Rod. What do you have to say more about that sort of thing as well, with the opportunities women's football can provide in terms of going international and that sort of thing?
Well, the opportunity spark, let me call it the spark. The opportunity spark was the grade two left-hander that I taught how to throw the ball today at our camp that had about 30 plus players on it. Grade 2 to grade 6. And that little girl's face, the grin might as well split her ears in half. It was just that intoxicating, boys. I cannot tell you. And I think if we're not planting the seed and just really championing from that little girl's smile to flag to contact, I think we miss out on a lot. Yeah. And I think if they don't fit into the major codes, cricket, NRL, rugby, union, if they don't fit into those codes, really, sure, some might go basketball, some might go swimming, some might whatever. But, when you play on a squad of 30 plus, you're going to find friends for life. And I think, mental health, we don't have to talk about that very much on here, but, Gridiron got me through some of my darkest days. I'll be 100% honest. And, like I was telling you boys earlier, one of my best mates, I was 7'8", he was 8'7". It's lifelong. It's lifelong once you've been in the trenches, trauma bonded with some people.
We haven't even really spoken about the mechanics of the event itself. What date is it? Where is it? Is it in person? How do people participate in the forum?
Absolutely. So, 2 ways to register. And very serendipitous, lads and ladies out there. July 4th.
I wondered about that.
Independence Day.
I wondered about that.
And perhaps it's a Friday night. And perhaps it's 6:30 to whenever we want to stop talking to each other. And perhaps it's at the beautiful venue of the National Hockey Center where the shop is located. And perhaps there's food on tap, there's beverages on tap, both imbibing veggies and imbibing beverages and those that don't imbibe. And we're going to kick off from 6:30. There's going to be a little bit of a commitment from everyone that arrives, either Zoom or in person. People will be expected to make a contribution, and that will be maybe even just a declaration of, I'm here to do the three things we just talked about.
Yeah.
Making it sustainable, making the village, empowering young women.
I love that. So that at the core of it, it's not partisan or factional or who's aligned with what associations. It really is about who wants to see good outcomes for women and what if American football could be a tool for helping that happen.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest, when this continues to mushroom out to really where it needs to be, I genuinely, if the shop closes because they found another shop and they build the sport without any of my input, I will be celebrating. I will be on the field somewhere.
You'll probably be under one of those hats with the zebra shirts on. That's where we'll probably find you, to be honest. Can't get you out of those things.
It has to work for women. It has to work for young women.
Yeah.
For young women to look up to these older, strong women that are already in the sport. Alex and the crews at Aussie Mates Rates. We had a giveaway last year. A lady got a brand new set of shoulder pads that, as part of their giveaway, because we want them to keep growing as well. So it's like,
fantastic.
Guys, like, the evidence is there. I'm a social worker, guys. Like, if I'm not building the village, then I'm just being selfish. Like, honestly, that's just selfish. And that
your passion can't be questioned here. It's very much from the stories you've shared with us about the things that you've done personally to try and help prop up people in the sport and to try and help clubs continue to participate and use their money wisely instead of it being about the success of your personal enterprise. And then what you're trying to provide here to really, I think, shows there's a real commitment to the passion about the good outcomes in the community and then also the love of the sport, and that those two can dovetail together to get that same outcome.
It's not work. It's not work. It's not work if someone says, hey, I need some gloves, or hey, I need some helmet, or hey, and I'll say, guys, my stuff, you don't need my stuff. Go on buy, sell, swap, go and talk to talk to the club, blah, 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 blah. Like, and I'm sure people go, don't they want to sell anything? Yeah, sure I do. Sure I do. But if I don't keep you informed and connect you with my wider network, they're going to go, hey, Rod from the shop told us to go here. And that's all I need. That's pay it forward, boys. That's how it's supposed to be.
Definitely.
Now, you mentioned registering for the event. How do people go about registering?
Yep. There's the Facebook link. So if they're Facebookers, cool. If not, on most of the social media links on Instagram and Facebook, there is a Google form that they can complete. They can email the shop. admin@gridironshop.com.au. Just go, I want a Zoom link. I want to come in person. Save me a spot. We can probably get about 50 in the shop unless we flow over to the downstairs, which is fine. It's our venue and we've got some spaces to expand. It's going to be a fun night either way. It really is, because I get to talk about growing my village, man. Like, it's giving me tingles talking about it. It's giving me goosebumps about it. It's giving me goosebumps talking about it now.
It's terrific. So we'll also provide a link to Gridiron Shop and that email address in the description of this podcast and YouTube video as well. Hey Manjot, you got anything else that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would like to just point out, people can see the irony, three men here talking about women's football. So, in terms of that, I do like that, you are committed there, Rod, as a man to help the women as well. That is a very big step that we don't see many men take in society, and this might go off into my societal public defender law sort of tangents here, but in terms of what I'm trying to say is that it is good to see a man definitely step up as well, shows a bit of leadership. But as well, I would just like to point out to any women listening as well, we'd love to have you on the show as well, definitely on Aussie Gridiron today, definitely want to expand our reach there, women's football. Definitely want to talk about women's football a lot more.
100%.
You know, another plug for the Mates Raids podcast as well. I mean, Alex is doing great things over there with everyone. So I just want to just point out there as well, like, yeah, you know, like while we might be men talking about women's football, there are also a lot of women as well doing a lot of great things, and yeah, we should check them out and support them while they're doing great things as well. Not diminishing anything you're doing, Rod. Yeah, also paying a compliment there to you as well as a man.
Well, you know, Manjot, you bang on, and you know, Urban Rec has opened their registration for the next season. So women out there, or if you got men, if you're out there watching the podcast, tell your lady, hey, the ACT League, ACT Urban Rec League, there's a new season starting up. And to be honest, not just that little girl I saw today in grade 2, seeing the smiles on the women in Urban Rec, you know, a good chunk of them went on to play for the UC Stars. And when they came back to play Urban Rec, they're like, Rod, I love it. When are you going to coach? Hey, can we do this? This is exciting. And it was the same little girl, guys. It was the same girl. She has a couple years on her, but it was the same fun, excitement, a safe place to learn, a village. And
that makes it all worthwhile. I can see how much that makes it worthwhile for you right there. Like, because you've got the same smile that you're trying to describe, and I can see it. I can actually see it.
Definitely.
Yeah, shout out to a couple that played tonight. They're just you can just see that it's just infectious, and you can see the relief they get when they have this village and they get to go out and get some of that anger out with the full contact, and they. You know, it's a very therapeutic thing. Yeah. I miss it. I just don't want to break any more fingers or toes or knees or anything.
I think our days of contact are behind us, mate. We were talking about that last week too. Just being like, we're at arm's reach from actually participating in it, but we're still very much wanting to be involved in seeing it be successful. And I just love hearing the enthusiasm you've got for it.
Love it. I love it. For the love of the game, boys. For the love of the game.
100.
Well, we wish you all the very best with this event too. Again, that's on the 4th of July.
There is, Jimmy Valvano, if you haven't come across his last speech in the ESPYs many years ago, he says, there is always a way. So even if the event has a bit of deflated, it's just momentum, boys. It's just momentum.
Yes, indeed.
Just momentum. Can't stop, won't stop, baby.
Yeah, and one more thing, Rod, just to look at it, you did talk about them school clinics as well. So just to finish on that, I mean, talked about that grade 2 goal a few times, that big smile. When are you planning more clinics in terms of flag football?
So that's right. So we'll be in week 2 next week. We're going to run that until the July school holidays, and we're already kind of putting a bit of teasers out there. I think we might want to run either free or seriously discounted, depending on fields and whatever, for kids in primary school to have a free 1 or 2 days during the school holidays. It's either going to be this school holidays or the next, but I think we've got a ton of momentum with way more kids than registered for the event today for this local primary school that I did it today. But we're gonna put that stuff up. And again, you know, it speaks to you guys swim in your circles, I swim in mine, but they're not in the circle of these primary school parents that want an opportunity for their kids to have a bit of fun and do something a little bit different, a little bit exciting. And yeah, we'll probably make a determination next week when and where we can do a school camp for kids to be there, you know, half day, maybe 3/4 of a day while mom and dad are at work, or if they're not at work and they want to come along, and just you know, for the love of the game, just get the kids having fun, running around. It's fun, man. Like, it's not work at all. I love it. It's volunteer, so for us, so it's cool stuff, man. It's cool stuff. So we're happy to be there and happy to be in the right spot, and fortunate enough to be in the right spot to be able to help.
Yeah, Rod, look, it's been great having you on Aussie Gridiron today, our first full feature-length interview with anyone that me and Matty have done. So it's definitely a pleasure to have you. We love hearing the stuff you have said about Gridiron Shop Australia. Of course, we are part of the Aussie Gridiron Network, Matty, and you can tell us a bit more about the shows we have just uploaded this week. Of course, the fantasy show is back. You, Taylor, Ian, even myself might have a little appearance.
Yes, indeed. We've been mock drafting because it is that time of year. If you are serious about fantasy football, June, and here we are in mock drafts. But we've been back at it for a couple of weeks now. The G'day Gridiron guys, where Ian is the host as well. He joins us on the show, but G'day Gridiron have also been rolling as they've been talking about the preseason news and how that impacts NFL, but also going down different storylines. Ranking all the coaches the other week, which was hilarious fun. And they've always got great topics to get you through this long off-season because, while there's no games, we don't consider it an off-season. So the Aussie Gridiron Network, we keep rolling. And Manjot, we've got more planned with Aussie Gridiron today too, which is great. So you'll be seeing plenty of us across the network in all different forums, Instagram, Facebook, the podcast feed, and of course, the YouTube channel at Pastry Press NFL, mate.
Yes, indeed, and shout out to everyone who has followed us along with this journey. Matty, I can't wait for another season. Just another plug here for Aussie Gridiron today. We have Ian, our guy, going to be interviewing Matt from the Hunter Gridiron League this week, so you guys will be able to check that out on the YouTube
Great
channel.
blog.
So it's going
Great blog, Matty.
Yeah, definitely.
Matties generally are, Rod. I don't know if you know. Also, the best at being honest.
I'm gonna do some math. Oh, yeah, Matt 1, yeah, Matt 2.
Yeah, okay. That's it. Yeah,
and the numbers are right with that.
They work out. We're the best at being modest too, by the way.
Yeah, and definitely, and also check out 22nd of June. So this coming Sunday, when this episode is uploaded, that we'll have me, Matty, Ian in the same place for the first time. We'll be at the Hunter All-Stars versus ACT Monarchs game. It's the only state football game this season in senior men's tackle. So you guys got to check it out. It's going to be a great one. Yeah, and look, can't wait to just dust off the mic, Matty, with you.
Yeah,
just going to be great.
Firstly, because it's been a little while, but secondly, we're the only folks providing media for this event. And it really is great for our little company, the Aussie Gridiron Network, to get that opportunity and that both the Hunter Gridiron and the ACT Gridiron are putting a bit of trust in us to do a great job for them. We're looking forward to it, and they're giving us lots of access to the players, coaches. We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be great, we think, for the clubs, and we're going to have a blast, of course, because we already know the ACT gives us lots of buy-in, and from the way Ian has spent his time talking with Matt from Hunter, we also understand Hunter are very excited to have Aussie Gridiron Network amongst them as well.
Where's the game at, boys? What field is it at?
It's at Dangar Park in Newcastle.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah,
and it had been planned for 3 weeks ago. There was plenty of bad weather around the time, and the field was a bit too warm to play. For safety reasons, delayed it 3 weeks. It's been a good call. The field's in much better nick now.
Yes, indeed.
Well, while you guys travel safe to Newcastle, I won't be able to attend, but I hope to see some smiling faces on the 4th as well. So, safe travels.
Yes,
thank you so much. All the very best with registrations for the event, and thank you so much for the time.
Have a good weekend, lads.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.